The Eastern Gate, also known as the Golden Gate, holds profound historical and religious significance. Its origins trace back to biblical times, notably mentioned in the Bible's book of Ezekiel. In Ezekiel 1-3, the gate is described as reserved for divine presence, closed to human passage. Then he brought me back to the outer gate of the sanctuary, which faces east, and it was shut. This passage has been interpreted by Jewish and Christian theologians as referring to a gate on the Temple Mount's eastern side, establishing its sacred status in religious traditions. The current structure of the Eastern Gate, or Golden Gate, is believed to date back to the early medieval period. Historians attribute its construction to the Umayyad Caliphate, which controlled Jerusalem post-Muslim conquest in 637 CE. As part of their significant building projects, including the Dome of the Rock, they likely constructed or refurbished the gate. The gate's distinctive double-arched design reflects Islamic architectural influences. The name Golden Gate may derive from a mistranslation of the Latin Porta Aurea, meaning beautiful gate rather than literal gold, linking it to Christian tradition and Jesus' triumphal entry. The Eastern Gate's closure has intrigued historians and fueled religious debate. The gate was sealed during the Fatimid Caliphate, or later under Ottoman rule. The reasons remain speculative, ranging from defensive strategies to religious motives tied to messianic beliefs. During the Crusader period, the gate was occasionally reopened for events like Palm Sunday, commemorating Jesus' entry. However, after Saladin's reconquest in 1187, it was resealed. Ottoman Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent is credited with its final sealing in 1541, possibly constructing a Muslim cemetery in front to deter Jewish and Christian claims. Since the Ottoman closure, the Eastern Gate has remained sealed, enduring through British Mandate rule and the modern division of Jerusalem. After the 1967 Six-Day War, Israel gained control of East Jerusalem, including the Temple Mount. Yet the gate's status as a closed structure persists. Today, the Temple Mount is administered by the Islamic Waqf, with the Eastern Gate remaining a potent symbol rather than a functional passageway. For Jews, it is tied to eschatological hopes of redemption and the rebuilding of the Third Temple. For Christians, it evokes the life of Jesus and apocalyptic visions of his return. Within traditional dispensationalism, pre-tribulation, and premillennialism theology, the Eastern Gate holds profound eschatological significance. This perspective interprets biblical prophecy literally, distinguishing between Israel and the Church. The Eastern Gate, sealed for centuries, is viewed as a prophetic signpost pointing to the return of Jesus Christ, the Messiah, to establish his millennial kingdom on earth. The gate's closure is seen as divinely ordained, awaiting a future event when the Messiah will enter through it, marking his return as king. This interpretation aligns with Ezekiel's vision of the future temple and the return of God's glory. The significance of the Eastern Gate is deeply rooted in Ezekiel's vision. In Ezekiel 1-2, the prophet describes a vision of a shut gate, implying its closure is divinely ordained, awaiting the Messiah's entry. This interpretation connects to Ezekiel 43:4, where the glory of the Lord enters the temple from the east. In premillennial theology, this event is understood to occur at Christ's second coming, after the 7-year tribulation, when he returns to earth to reign from Jerusalem for 1,000 years. The Eastern Gate's current sealed state aligns with this prophecy, serving as a prophetic linchpin. The Eastern Gate's sealed condition is seen as a tangible sign of future events in dispensational thought. Its closure since Suleiman the Magnificent in 1541 underscores the divine preservation of prophecy. While skeptics might view this as coincidence, adherents see it as evidence of God's sovereignty over history. The gate's location facing the Mount of Olives ties it directly to Christ's second coming, reinforcing the view that God's plan for Israel remains unfulfilled until the tribulation and millennium. The Eastern Gate stands as a literal marker of prophecy, symbolizing Christ's return to rule as King of Kings.